Hello, geometry students. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at our 10.1 notes. And what we're going to do is take a look at all the vocabulary we're going to need for our Unit 10 on circles. So let's start with our first term. We're going to define what a circle is. So a circle is a set of all points in a plane that are equidistant from a point called the center. Now, this phrase in a plane is really important because if that phrase were not there, we would be jumping into into 3 dimensions, and instead of describing a circle, we would actually be describing a sphere. So make sure anytime you define a circle, you use this phrase in a plane. So it's the set of all points in a plane that are equidistant from a point called the center. Now, when we name a circle, you name it with a circle symbol and its center. So, for example, let's draw a picture of a circle. So draw a circle, give it a center, which is a point. Let's name that point P. So if we were going to name this circle, we would use the circle symbol, just a circle with a center, and then the name of its center. So we would just call this circle P. Okay, now let's talk about what a radius is. A radius is a segment with one endpoint at the center of the circle, and the other endpoint is on the circle. So let's draw a picture of a radius. So draw a circle and its center. So a radius would be a line segment whose endpoints are the center of the circle and then also a point on the circle. So I'll make that obvious, okay? Now let's talk about what a chord is. A chord is also a line segment that's going to be in the interior of the circle and whose endpoints are on the circle. So let's draw an example of a chord. So draw a circle, and then we just need a segment whose endpoints are on the circle. So this red segment that I drew would be an example of a chord. Now, a diameter is a particular kind of chord. A diameter is a chord of a circle that contains the center of the circle. Okay, so let's draw a picture of an example of that. So we will draw a circle, give it a center. Now, when you draw that chord, just make sure, or draw that diameter, just make sure you're drawing a chord whose endpoints are on the circle, and also the chord needs to contain the circle. Hopefully yours is a little bit straighter than mine. Now let's define what concentric circles are. So if you've ever seen the symbol for the Target store, that's a good example of concentric circles. Concentric circles are coplanar circles that have a common center. Okay, so to draw an example of that, you'd want to draw like a bullseye or like the Target symbol. Okay, all of these here, I'll draw a third one. Oh, that's not a very good picture, but anyway, these are all circles that have a common center. Okay, the next is a phrase you need to understand, the phrase of a polygon that's inscribed in a circle. So a polygon inscribed in a circle is a polygon whose vertices lie on the circle. So let's draw an example. So if you would, draw a circle, and we're going to draw a quadrilateral that is inscribed in this circle. So we're going to draw a 4-sided figure, and we have to make sure that the 4 vertices are actually on the circle. So it might look something like that. So notice that every vertex lies on the circle. So when we talk about this quadrilateral, we say that the quadrilateral is inscribed in the circle. Now, if we look at the other side of the coin, let's talk about the circle in this situation. So a circle that's circumscribed about a polygon, that would be a circle that contains all the vertices of a polygon. Okay, so let's draw an example of that. So I'm going to draw a circle, and then I'm going to draw a triangle. It could be any polygon, but I'm just drawing a triangle. So notice that this circle contains every vertex. So we would say that the circle is circumscribed about the triangle. If we were talking about the triangle, then we would say that the triangle is inscribed in the circle. Okay, so now let's move on to a central angle. So a central angle is an angle whose vertex is the center of the circle. So isn't that a good name? And also the sides of the central angle would be radii. Radii is the plural for radius of the circle. So let's draw a picture of that. So I'm going to draw a circle and its center. So a central angle would be an angle whose vertex is the center of the circle. And notice that its sides are radii of the circle. Okay? So now let's move on and talk about the idea of an arc. An arc is a portion of the circumference of the circle. Remember the circumference of a circle is the distance all the way around the outside of a circle. So a portion of that circumference is what we call an arc. So it's kind of hard to draw this. Go ahead and draw a circle, okay? And then if you have a highlighter or a different color, I'm going to try a highlighter, maybe a red highlighter. So an arc would be just a portion of that circle, and it would definitely have endpoints that are on the circle. Okay, so this red highlighted portion, that's a portion of the circumference, and we call that an arc. Now, there are different kinds of arcs. The first kind of arc we're going to name is a minor arc. So what is a minor arc? Well, given 2 points on the circle, the minor arc would be the shortest distance, okay, the shortest arc with those 2 points as endpoints, okay? So for example, let's draw a picture. So let's draw a circle. Let's put 2 points on that circle. Let's give them names. Let's call them A and B. Okay, so you'll notice that we could, using A and B as endpoints, we could be talking about 2 arcs. We could either talk about this shortest arc from A to B, or we could talk about the big one. Well, if we're talking about a minor arc, we want to describe that shortest arc. Let me go ahead and highlight it again. I'll highlight it yellow this time. So this arc, okay, that is what we call a minor arc, okay? It is the shortest distance with those points as endpoints. Now, when you go to name an arc, it will be similar to naming a line segment. You name it by its endpoints, and then we need a symbol that lets everybody know we're talking about an arc. That symbol is just a curved arc above the endpoints. Remember, when we named a line segment, we would put a straight line segment above that. So to name an arc, you name its endpoints and then put that curved symbol over the top. Make sure that these are capital letters. Remember, we always name points in geometry with capital letters. And I also want to mention that another perfectly fine name for this arc, we could also call it arc BA. It doesn't matter in what order you put the endpoints. Okay? Now, when we talk about an arc's going to have a measure. The measure would be the same number of degrees as its central angle. So let's go ahead and draw the central angle that's associated with this arc. Okay, so it would look like that. Notice its vertex is at the center, its sides are radii. Now, that angle is an angle, so it has a degree measure. Let's just call it x degrees. Okay, so if that central angle has a measure of x degrees, then we say that the measure of this arc, and the way we indicate that is with an M. So we put an M, and then we name the arc. So the measure of that arc would be x degrees. The measure of the arc is the same as its central angle. So now let's talk about a major arc. So again, given 2 points on a circle, so let's draw a circle, let's put 2 points on it, and let's give those points names, okay? So given 2 points on a circle, a major arc would be the longest arc with those points as endpoints. So this time, remember, we could take the shortest distance from A to B, the shortest measure along the circumference, or we could take the longest distance. So the major arc would be, let me highlight it, it would be this bigger or longer distance, longer piece of the circumference, okay? Now, when you go to name an arc, I can't call this major arc, I can't call it arc AB because arc AB would be the name of the minor arc. So whenever you name a major arc, you have to use a third point. So I'm going to put another point on this circle. I'm going to call it C. So when we go to name that major arc, we can call it arc either ACB, start with one endpoint, then name any other point along the arc, along the major arc, and then name the other endpoint. And then don't forget to put that arc symbol over the top. Another perfectly fine way to name this major arc, we can either call it arc ACB or we could call it arc BCA. It doesn't matter which endpoint you start with. Now, to find the measure of a major arc, I forgot to draw the center. Let me draw that center, and then let me draw the associated central angle with the minor arc. Remember that arc or that angle has a measure of x degrees. So you probably recall that the distance all the way around a circle is 360 degrees. So to find the measure of this yellow major arc, we would take 360 degrees and then we would subtract the measure of the associated minor arc, which is the same as the measure of its central angle. So we would write it like this. The measure of arc ACB, or we could say BCA, is equal to 360 degrees minus the measure of that central angle. So now let's talk about the last kind of an arc, and that's called a semicircle. So a semicircle is an arc whose endpoints are shared with the endpoints of a diameter of a circle. So let's draw a picture of that. So I'm going to draw a circle, its center, then I'm going to draw a diameter. Okay, let's give those endpoints names. Let's call them P and Q. Okay, so now you'll notice that this diameter really marks off two semicircles. There's this semicircle here and then the second semicircle. So when I go to name it, I would need, let's say I wanted to, let me highlight which semicircle I am talking about. So I want to name that semicircle. So just like when we name a major arc, we need to use a third point. So I'm going to put another point on this this circle. I'm going to call it point, I guess I'll just call it R. Okay, so if I want to talk about the measure of that arc, I would say that the measure of arc PRQ, or I could call it arc QRP, it's a semicircle. So I'm sure it's no surprise to you that since it takes up half of the circle, every semicircle will always have a measure of 180 degrees. So now let's talk about congruent arcs. Well, we've been talking about this idea of congruency all year, so I'm sure it won't surprise you that congruent arcs would be arcs in either the same circle or in congruent circles that are the same shape and the same size. In other words, I period E period means in other words, they have the same measure. Okay, oops. The same measure. So let's go ahead and draw a picture. Now, you can have congruent arcs within one circle, or you could have congruent arcs within congruent circles. So in this space, if you could draw two circles that appear to be congruent, okay? So let's draw a pair of congruent arcs in one circle. So I'm just going to kind of make it thicker. So here's one arc, and then in the same circle, I'm going to draw another arc. Okay, that appears to be the same shape and same size. They would have the same measure. So the way we would indicate that those arcs are congruent is we would use tick marks, just like we would when we're marking congruent segments. So you can either have arcs within the same circle that are congruent to each other, or if you have two congruent circles, we could have congruent arcs among those congruent circles. So let me draw an arc that appears to be congruent. So to show that that arc is congruent to the arcs in the other circle, I would put one tick mark on it. Okay, so now let's move on and talk about some angles that are associated with circles. The first angle we're going to talk about is an inscribed angle. And an inscribed angle is an angle whose vertex is on the circle and whose sides are chords of the circle. So let's draw an example of that. So draw a circle. Here's its center. Okay, so I'm going to draw an angle whose vertex is on the circle and whose sides are chords of the circle. All right, so this angle, let me mark its measure. So this angle is what we call an inscribed angle because its vertex is on the circle and its sides are chords of the circle, okay? The next term we're going to talk about is an intercepted arc, okay? So an intercepted arc is an arc of a circle that is, for lack of a better phrase, it is cut off by an angle. So let's draw a diagram so I can give you an example. So I'm going to draw an inscribed angle. Now this could be an inscribed angle or it could be a central angle. Either way, we could have an intercepted arc, okay? So here's an inscribed angle, okay? So this angle is cutting off, or it's chopping off a portion of the circumference. Let me highlight it. So this yellow arc is what we call an intercepted arc. So it's an arc of a circle that's cut off, a piece of the circle that's cut off by an angle. So let's give some names to these points. So let's call this point X, this point Y, and this point Z. So we would say that arc, this yellow arc, it's a minor arc, so I would name it with just the two endpoints. So that minor arc XZ is intercepted by angle XYZ, an inscribed angle, okay? And then also, let me just draw, I forgot to put a center on our circle. So let me just go ahead and draw a central angle. A central angle can also intercept an arc, okay? All right, the last thing we're going to talk about are two lines that are associated with circles. The first is what we call a tangent line. Now I said line, but a tangent could be a line or a segment. So a tangent to a circle is a line or a segment in the same plane as a circle that intersects the circle exactly once. So let's draw a picture of that. So I'm going to draw a circle, here's its center, and then I'm going to draw a line that intersects that circle exactly one time. So when that happens, we say that the line is tangent to the circle, and this point here, where the line touches the circle, that's called the point of tangency, okay? And then the last line or segment that we're going to talk about is a secant. A secant is either a line or a segment in the same plane as a circle that intersects a circle exactly twice. So for that to happen, that line or that segment is going to have to go through the interior of the circle. So let's draw an example. Here's a circle, here's the center. So a secant would be a line that, or it could be a segment that touches the circle exactly twice. So we could actually say any chord is also a secant to the circle. Okay, so that is your vocabulary you're going to need for Unit 10. So the next thing you're going to do is do a short worksheet to help you memorize or learn this vocabulary.